Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome, everybody. Welcome to an introduction of labor certifications. Hello, welcome, everybody. Thank you for giving me your time today. I appreciate it. Hello, my name is Raul Sabasco II. I am the owner of Labor Certification, Remote Foreign Labor Certification. I'm here to talk about labor certification, which is what I specialize in. Um, But first, let me explain a little bit of when this program first came out. The program came out in 1952. This is 74 years ago. Unbelievable. A lot of people have not heard about this program, but here it is. This gives you direct access to permanent residence, correct? This federal program started under the Immigration Nationality Act. So this was once again 74 years ago. The reason why I have specialized in dedicating my time to this was because my father, he is also my mentor. He worked for the Department of Labor for 6 years and he decided to become an agent. So now he sends labor certification cases to the Department of Labor over in Atlanta, Georgia. What does a labor certification do, and what we do, what we can benefit from it? It's very simple. We help employers with their staffing needs while also having the ability to hire a foreign worker. The only way that we can hire a foreign worker, correct, is by proving to the Department of Labor that the foreign worker has not taken the job from a U.S. citizen who is qualified for the position. If the U.S. citizen is not qualified for the positions, there are things that the U.S. citizen is lacking, which would be the experience, the special skills. It would also be their education, and it could also be because of their well, yes, the experience, education, special skills, and proper training. So if a U.S. citizen does not have any of those for the future work position, then a foreign worker may apply for this position and be qualified for it. Let's go back and, well, this is a message more for the foreign worker or the prospective employee. Remember, this is labor certification is a program that takes you directly to permanent residence, which means it is not temporary. Visas are temporary. This is nothing temporary. Before we begin, let's just understand that, okay? What an alien will benefit from this program for their permanent residency, and an employer will benefit from this program by finding the necessary staff that they need, and by also, of course, helping a prospective employee, or it could be a foreign worker, correct? And so what happens is anybody can apply for this position from within the United States or outside of the United States. So you can be in any other country and you can start applying for the labor certification, or you can be working in the United States legally and apply for the labor certification as well. Anyone can apply. Well, let's also remember that this is for a future work position, and so the employer will have to be in the United States territory in order for this whole program to function. Okay, depending on what you have chosen as your career, so you could be a nanny, it could be a professional athlete, it could be a lawyer, it could be a doctor, it could be an administrator. None of that matters. You can still apply for the program, correct? And so that what the Department of Labor does is they give you a classification. It could be from EB1 to EB4, and that's just basically an employment based classification that they give you, correct? So what we do is, let's say the employer wants to hire us as their agent in order to help with their staffing needs and finding an employee for them. And so he will come to the office. He would give us, let's say, he would give us the job title, the job duties, and we will fill what is called a prevailing wage, and it is a salary that the Chicago Department of Prevailing Wage in Chicago, they will process that prevailing wage and come back with an official salary. The salary will change depending on the job title, depending on where the location for the future work position will be at. So there will be a different salary. Let's say if the future work position was in California, or if it will be a different salary if the future work position was in Florida, correct? So we have to, that is the very first step. It is necessary to fill a prevailing wage out before we start going through the rest of the process, correct? Um, this is for permanent residency, like I said before, and it will include your family. So once the labor certification is certified, we will continue to the next steps. There's three steps to the permanent residency, which is the labor certification. Once that is certified, you continue on to your next steps, which are the I-140 and the I-485. The I-140 is from the employer, and the 485 is the petition for your family. And so those are the three steps that you will be taking. Um, this program will include your family of children, your family. So that would be your spouse, and that would be children under the age of 21. Once you file for your I-140 and 485, the children's age will freeze if they get close to the amount of 21 years old and over. Because if they are over 21 years and over, they will have to do a separate labor certification, or they will have to wait for their relatives to become permanent residents, and then the family will have to do a petition for the alien, for the relatives. And so this does include your family. And once you do have your I-145, let's say you're out of the country and you're doing the labor certification, it comes out certified. You file your I-140, and you will be granted a consular residence, and you will, from your country's embassy, you will go to your embassy, and they will give you the consular residence, and that is a green light. You will be able to travel to the United States with documents, and you will be flying on that plane with your family, correct? So how does this process work? It can be a little strenuous, but this is part of our agency. We're here to help. We give free counseling to employers. We give free counseling to foreign workers or prospective employees. And this is what we do. In the beginning of the process, like I've said, we start with the prevailing wage. The prevailing wage may take 4 to 7 months after it is turned in to the National Processing Center. It will take them around 4 to 7 months to process the prevailing wage and send it back to us with an official salary. So that is how the very beginning of the process. Now, what we do as an agency to guarantee that the case goes smoothly is before the employer signs up and starts the labor certification here with us, is we ask the employer to give us their last year's income tax, so that we may know that for a fact the employer will have substantial income in order to pay for that future work position. Now, we also do check with the foreign worker and check to see if they are in the country legally, or if we do run background checks. So there are a few things we do before we even start the case to guarantee that we win in the future and that everything sails very smooth, okay? So we check the employer's income. He has substantial amount to pay for that future work position. We check that with the foreign worker. We have the employer's job title and job duties. We fill out the prevailing wage and then we send it to the National Processing Center in Chicago. 4 to 7 months it will take for them to send us back the official salary. Once we have the official salary, we may start doing advertisements. Advertisements, what we do is the employer will start putting advertisements in the newspaper, local newspaper, where the future work position will be. So if the position is going to be in Atlanta, then we will have to put newspapers of major circulation in the Atlanta city area. Okay, so we will put newspapers. We will also put information. We will also post the job for the future work position online. And so what that does is it will start creating resumes. The employer will start receiving resumes. With those resumes, the employer will have also a time. We call it like a quiet waiting time, because the employer is required to wait an entire month and to receive as many resumes as possible. So once that month is over, then the employer may start doing a recruitment tactics. So what the recruitment will be, it would be basically the employer stating who sent the resumes, how did they send the resumes, whether it was by physical mail, email, where did they get the resumes from? Did they get it from a newspaper? Did they get it from a job posting that we did online? So that is just the recruitment tactics, the first recruitment tactics that the employer would do. After he has finished that, he will start doing the recruitment results, and the recruitment results will explain when the person who applied, the recruitment results from the employer will explain who was the person that applied for the position. It would also explain how the person was interviewed by phone, by email, and it would also explain the reasons why the prospective employee did not qualify for the work position, whether it's, let's say, special skills, experience, proper training. And so the employer will document this, and he will have his recruitment results. Once the recruitment results are done by the employer, he will send it to us, and we will assist the employer in finishing the form ETA 9089, which is the employment training. It's the application for the labor certification. So the employer will turn in his recruitment results. We will assist the employer with filling out the form for labor certification, and we will send the labor certification out to the processing center in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia will receive this case, and it ultimately, from the past cases that I have been doing, it has been taking around 460 days in order for the labor certification to come back either certified, or they may actually request for further information. I would say 99.9% of our cases are usually certified. There's always the chance of the Department of Labor asking for more information, correct? So it will take 460 days for the Department of Labor to give us an answer once we have turned in the ETA form 9089. Depending on the category that you were based on, EB1, EB2, how I explained earlier, if you are a non-professional, the time will delay a little more. If you are professional, the time will shorten. So depending on if you're a professional or non-professional, your case may either go fast or it could be a little bit slower. So let's say that you have your labor certification, it's certified. The employer will contact me. I will immediately start the I-140 because that is the petition from the employer. And of course, the prospective employee that the employer has chosen, whether it's the foreign worker, we will be contacting the foreign worker and explaining that his case was certified. They must immediately go through USCIS, start filing that I-485 so that you can start your with your petition of permanent residence, okay? With all this said, I do have a message for the employer. The employer bears all the burden during this process of a labor certification, which means this is also for the foreign worker. They might be interested in this. The employer bears the burden, which means the employer must do everything in his part for the labor certification. Remember, our agency only assists the employers through the labor certification. And so with that saying, that means the employer must pay for our fees, for our office fees. And so the employer must pay for it, not the foreign worker. And also with the advertisements, the employer does have to pay for the advertisements. The employer is required to do the recruitment results. And so that is the meaning of the employer bearing the burden, correct? And once again, the employer must be within the United States in order for this process to work. And yes, like I've mentioned before, we do require the employers, before we start the labor certification, we do require the employers' last year's income tax in order to verify that they have substantial amount of gains to pay for that future work position. And I praise the employers that have been helping foreign workers. They know that in the United States, foreign workers have always made a huge impact in the economy. I do want to also follow up with something very important, which is this is a direct route to permanent residence. It's amazing that a lot of people have not heard about this program. There are several paralegals and lawyers who do know about this program. The reason why they choose not to bring it up when you go and have a consultation with them is because, remember, visas are temporary. You have to come back, renew your visa, or change status of your visa. And so what that does is it has you coming back to the lawyer, and you are basically spending money for something that is temporary. With the labor certification, it is permanent. You only have to do it one time, and it is necessary. And by the immigration code, it is necessary for anyone who wants to be a permanent resident in the United States. It is necessary and the very first step to get permanent residence. Okay, remember, there's 3 steps: labor certification, then you can have your I-140 and your I-485. Remember that I am not a lawyer. I am also not a paralegal. My specialty is labor certifications. I have over 10 years of experience doing labor certifications, and I have witnessed so many success stories, so many families being able to come and thrive in the United States. If there is a message for those who are here in the United States illegally, I recommend you starting this process immediately, getting in contact with CBP so that you can find your way back home and you may enter the United States legally. Because I can guarantee you that if you are held here in the United States undocumented, and they deport you, I can guarantee you it will become a lot harder for you to get your permanent residence here in the United States. I want to thank everybody for giving me your time. I know a lot of people come home, they're tired, they're hungry, they want to shower, they have to make dinner for the kids, and these days it is so important. There's so much going on with the immigration and the policies changing. Things are starting to shape up. They're starting to I think people are being more aware now of immigration policies more than ever after after what has been going on with the Trump administration. If you have any questions, you can contact me by direct message. You can also send me a call. I work from Monday to Thursday at this moment from 10 till 5. You can give me a call back. If I do not answer, I also have social media. I have Instagram, Threads, Facebook, TikTok. So I would really appreciate you guys. If you follow, I will follow you back. I'm trying to get to that 1,000 followers so that I can start doing some live Instagram videos. And remember that we are always going to be here for you. We will have free consultations. If you need a little more information, we can send out emails as a small packet.